These data mine runes are kind of ... done. Okay, let's check it out, guys. Some data mine stuff about Season of Discovery.
These two, Blizzard have pushed tons of new runes and class changes for testing, and we cannot access this PTR ourselves, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been data mined. Now, in regards to Phase 3, it would have been nice if we found out everything in real time, but Agren did explain why they're putting so much on the PTR in the first place, saying things such as some of them will be real, referring to the runes of course, and some of them will be experimental and won't be used. He also mentioned having no PTR runs a much higher risk come launch date, and finally he said basically if you don't want spoilers, don't click on things which say data mining, and hopefully from the title and thumbnail here, I've made it pretty clear what the content of this video is going to be. Nevertheless, today I'm going to be talking about data mined runes for Phase 3, which are expected to go on the 2 new rune engraving slots on your helm and wrist. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Boot.dev. Boot.dev gives ambitious, self-motivated individuals the tools they need to get fully on board with Python and Go programming languages.
Coders in the chat?
What sets it apart is that it treats the learning process like an RPG, with goals, experience, and achievements. This allows you to both stay engaged with the topic you are on, as well as tracking what you've done so far. Boot.dev believes in a hands-on learning experience, and one of the main things they want to get you doing on your learning journey is writing tons of your own code, so you can really get a first-hand understanding of what works and why. But even if you just want to check out Boot.dev before committing, it is really risk-free. All the content is free to read and watch in guest mode, and there's a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo on every course and its interactive features. Back-end development is often a career with high earnings and remote work positions too, so why not give it a try? Click the link in the description box and use my code WILLE to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% your first month or your first year, depending on the subscription you choose. Many thanks to Boot.dev for the sponsor today.
Not bad.
Let's get back to WoW. So majors are looking very promising for the future in Season of Discovery after having looked through all the potential runes. And some of them are totally new abilities that I don't believe we've ever seen in the game before. And those runes are always my favorite ones to see. Balefire Bolt is a new casted ability which deals spellfire damage. That's arcane plus fire, and each cast will increase the damage of your Balefire Bolt by 10%, but will also decrease your spirit by 10%. And here's the crazy part. If your spirit ever reaches 0, your character immediately dies. It reminds me of Surrender to Madness, at least the version that Shadow Priest had at the start of Legion, in that you've got this super powerful ability, but the downside is a literal death. Saying that, the spirit...
I think this is sick, dude. This is the kind of stuff that we want in SOD, like completely new stuff that we just never seen in that way.
Reduction on the spell is a percentage, so realistically it's not going to be possible to mess this up unless you get to 9 stacks and think, you know
spoiler alert, there should be a spoiler alert in the title. I put it in the title.
I'm just going to send another bolt in. This spell very well could be real, but I have a feeling that if it is, the drawback will need to be amended in some way to make it a bit more threatening. Another totally new spell is Temporal Anomaly. This will be aimed more towards the arcane healers, I would imagine.
Launches an orb temporal energy which slowly moves forward every 2 seconds, grants all nearby party members a shield. That's an interesting spell as well. What the hell? So like kind of like a shield that moves with you.
It fires an orb that will grant all party members a shield every 2 seconds, only on a 1-minute cooldown. It does depend a lot on how much it can absorb, but certain fights may well benefit from this persistent shielding effect. Imagine if you can fire off this orb into a corner and it can't move forward, so it just sits there refreshing a shield. Or maybe in Warsong Gulch, when moving forwards carrying a flag, having this shield follow you all the way would be kind of nice. Warlocks very well may have an upgraded demon to look forwards to in the future in the shape of the Felguard. This demon, initially introduced during TBC, was the capstone talent for demonology, but in Season Season of Discovery, with runes working the way which they do, any warlock would be able to learn this powerful summon. It's hard to think that this won't be the go-to demon for everyone if it does make its way into the game. And
Vilgard is insane, man. Like,
even if you are going down the demonology tree to buff up your pet, it's still going to be pretty good. And let's face it, warlock pets in general are more there for support. They're not there to tank and do damage, as beast mastery pets are. Maybe this changes with the Felguard though.
It might be
also,
really
DATAMINED was Pandemic. This is a simple rune that does something a lot of us have been considering and asking for some time.
Dude, this is insane. Your dots can crit. Like, what? Corruption, Unstable Affliction, Curse of Agony, Emulate, Curse of Doom, Siphon Life can crit. That is insane. Like, what? Dude, what the hell, man?
It makes your damage over time effects crit.
That's nuts.
And the tooltip also has Unstable Affliction on it, which was also indeed datamined for a future phase. This is definitely...
Yeah, dude, imagine a Curse of Doom critting. You put it on someone, like a minute later, they just get like 10k damage. They just die. Oh my lord.
They're going to make warlocks a much bigger threat in PvP content, but may also provide the turning point for Affliction to begin seeing play in PvE as well.
Oh yeah, true.
Priests have had some truly weird and wonderful runes which have been data mined. First up is Smite Priest could actually be a thing with the new Surge of Light rune. So in the Burning Crusade, a Talon with the same name was brought into the game. As you can see here, it's a 50% chance on spell crit for your next smite to be instant cast,
100%.
but it cannot crit. There used to be an earlier version of this proc where it could crit, and if you got lucky, you could just get these back-to-back-to-back smite crits. It was kind of like the caster version of Wind Fury. So this datamined version we have at the moment then is very powerful. It procs from any spell crit, affects a bunch of spells, and doesn't specify that the proc cannot crit itself. So if you've had dreams of making Smite Priest a real thing, in Phase 3, maybe it'll be worth a go.
I don't understand. This is kind of like how I would feel about like Smite Priest though, because it's like you're just spamming one ability, but maybe people like that, I guess. I'm not sure. It's crazy he didn't mention the most broken rune datamined ever for mages. What's this one? Oh, Displacement, yeah. Teleports back to where you cast Blink from and resets the cooldown on Blink. Only usable within 10 seconds of casting Blink. Yeah, this is nuts. Like, this is freaking ridiculous, man. I can already see Soryu, like, going crazy over this for sure. Like, that's absolutely insane. Soryu would be unkillable? Yeah, Soryu is gonna love that, man. Holy crap.
It's so
OP, yeah, it is really OP.
Looks as though Priest may also be getting a rune which will allow their damage over time effects to crit. The Despair rune simply says your periodic effects can now be critical strikes. So not only would this apply to currently known dots such as Shadow Herb Pain or Void Plague or even the undead specific Devouring Plague, but future ones too, if there are indeed new ones. Who knows, Vampiric Touch has been a crowd favourite damage over time effect for a very long time. Maybe it'll make its way back into the game, maybe not, we'll see. This would help the typically damage over time heavy class scale a little bit better. Onto Rogue, and Rogue are getting some better ways to regenerate energy tied to one of their Helm runes. Focused Attacks is a simple enough ability that makes it so you regain 2 energy every time you crit with a melee or ranged attack. Now, during Wrath of the Lich King, there was this interaction with Fan of Knives and Fell Striker, where if you were hitting enough enemies, you were basically guaranteed to proc the effect of Fell Striker, and because everything would crit, every time you'd use your AoE, your energy bar would refill, thanks to focused attacks. In Season of Discovery, rogues now have Shuriken Toss as an AoE. It is target capped though, so I don't think it's going to be nearly as good as Fan plus Fell Striker, but maybe it could make some okay AoE DPS or for threat as a tank. Though
it's probably more for threat, I would say. Like, I don't know if this is going to be big damage, honestly. But yeah. Act-Dog, thank you for the 2. Mr. Blizzard here, we decided to remove Night Elves, Druids, and Dragons from WoW. What the hell?
At this point, seeing how the balance is on Shuriken Toss, it's probably going to need a bit of a buff before it starts to do anything noteworthy. Honor Among Thieves was also data mined, and this is a crazy power.
Yeah, this is freaking nuts. When any player in your party critical hits with your spell ability, you gain a couple point on your current target. Cannot occur more than every second. You're basically guaranteed a combo point every second. Because if you have 5 people in your group, somebody is bound to crit every second. Like, this is gonna be nuts for rogues. This is absolutely insane.
Full version of it.
Wasn't this talent never used in Wrath? I know, I'm not entirely sure how it worked in Wrath with that thing, but this is crazy. Like, for PvE, it's pretty nuts. You just constantly get combo points.
A party member crits, you gain 1 combo point against your current target, with only a 1-second internal cooldown.
Yeah.
If this is real, rogues are going to have more combo points than they know what to do with, especially if you're grouping up with maybe warriors or hunters as their pets.
Dude, this, bro, imagine playing a Seal Fate Rogue Mutilate with that rune. You do 1 Mutilate, you get max. You just do Mutilate, Envenom, Mutilate, Envenom, Mutilate, Envenom, and you just do so much damage. Because you're gonna have constantly like 4 or 5 combo points.
The hunter themselves should both be able
yeah.
to contribute towards Honor Among Thieves. In fact, early on in Wrath of the Lich King, original Wrath of the Lich King this is, there was a bug and/or interaction, whichever way you want to look at it, where you could stack a full party with rogues. And each rogue
I remember
would give
this.
the others combo points when they crit with Honor Among Thieves. So you could stack 5 rogues in a group and all 5 would get 5 combo points basically every single global, and they could just spam eviscerate the entire fight. I don't know if that sounds too good of an idea to bring back for Season of Discovery. Blizzard probably don't want to do that, but at the same time it would be kind of funny to see. Yeah. Druids are getting some buffs to Hurricane by the looks of things, and they certainly need it. Gale Winds will increase the damage of Hurricane by 100%, removes its cooldown, and reduces its mana cost by 20%. You know an ability was bad when they have to go that far to make it seem reasonable. This should make...
Hurricane just ain't it, man. Like, it's just ain't it, dude. Raizo, thank you for the 10 months, man.
Boomies
yeah, no cooldown. Like, Druids, I think, might be the class that's seen, like, the most love in SOD, man. I guess Shamans, too, honestly. Shamans have been pretty freaking nuts, too.
You know, just druids in general, decent on larger AoE pulls.
I don't even know what they gave it a
previously they can't really do anything. Its mana cost is still on the high end, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? For Ferals, the Gore rune was DATAMINED. This makes it so Lacerate, Maul, or Swipe have a 15% chance to reset the cooldown on Mangle Bear. Okay, so Feral players will know that this tooltip doesn't really make sense. As
I thought it was good, no? Strike and target with Lacerate for a while, I think it's good on Mangle Bear. Strike and target with Mangle, we did a cool on. I thought this would be good, no? Are we not? Dudes don't like this?
Mangle and Lacerate share a rune slot. Does this mean
maybe you don't use Lacerate?
For the future they're considering swapping those around? Because I know a big issue that Bears have had so far is that these 2 key threat generating abilities are on the same rune. So hopeful, fingers crossed here, is that something will be changed here for the future.
Okay, so they share a slot. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah,
if you're a cat, this rune makes it so Mangle or Shred have a 5% chance to reset the cooldown on Tiger's Fury. Of course, Tiger's Fury is now a great DPS cooldown once you have the King of the Jungle rune, so despite it being a fairly low proc chance, this is still pretty good if it goes off. Hunters only had 2 future runes, DATAMINED. The first of...
This one is kind of... I don't know. This is kind of... I don't know if this is really going to impact anything, honestly. 10% damage. This seems like a really underwhelming rune.
Which is TNT. This makes it so damage from explosive shot and damaging traps do 10% more damage. We do have Trap Launcher in the game, so you can send off your fire traps from distance and they have their own cooldown, but we need a rune that makes the traps themselves actually do some kind of relevant damage before we can start thinking about adding percentage increases, because...
It would be cool to see traps be like more important for hunters in a way. It kind of reminds me of Trap Assassin in Diablo 2. It's a shit rune and somehow we'll still need to get it nerfed. I mean, that's just really how it works for hunters, no? They just always gotta get the nerf. Paladins will get 100% holy crit, hunters get 10% damage and 2 abilities. Yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming, isn't it? But what can you do? Yo, Sakura, thank you for the 27 months. Appreciate it.
Moment, they're just very weak. Perhaps we may even see new traps in the future, though. That could always be an option.
That would be
if
cool.
You're more of a pet enjoyer, we also had Focus Fire DATAMINED. This rune consumes your frenzy stacks, giving you up to a 15% attack speed buff and restoring some focus to your pet. It also mentions a new version of frenzy on the tooltip. In this version, your pet gains frenzy each time they do a basic attack, granting 6% attack speed, stacking up to 5 times. This is worth a mention because we already have a frenzy talent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it stacks with this, right? So you're gonna have a literal, like, machine gun, like, pet. It's gonna go so fast. I don't know, for me it just doesn't seem like BM is that fun to play, but I guess some people like it. It's a different playstyle, I suppose. But if I was a hunter, I would rather have my hunter be strong and then like my pet being like an assisting kind of damage rather than the pet being like the major like carrying, carry effect of it. It doesn't feel as fun if you're the one that's like less strong and your pet just does everything. But I guess some people like it. I have a question. What's up, Vegas? The pets already solo people? Yeah, pets are super, super strong.
The BM tree as well, where they have a percentage chance to gain extra
attacks. Yeah, oh no, my pet died. I guess I'm useless. Exactly.
After critting. Maybe we have both of these exist at the same time and it only consumes one of them. Or maybe this means you have 5 more talent points to spend somewhere else if you're going all the way down the Beast Mastery tree. Either way, whatever happens here, this is just a 15% attack speed buff, more or less. Which,
yeah, I mean, again, it's a point, the Beast Mastery. That's the point of the spec, right? Some people like it, some people don't. It's good to have the option for it, I suppose.
Should at least fit well into marksmanship builds. So Shamans were the only class in the game to have literally 0 runes data mined for Phase 3 and the level 50 bracket. But given the recent class changes Shaman have received, I'm not even sure what more they could get to make them better.
Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that supposed to mean, man? I'm leveling up my Shaman right now, dude. We gotta get some juice as well. Hey, give us some new juice for Phase 3. Come on, guys. Like, that's ridiculous. Hey Guzu, how are you thinking about Cata Classic? I'm actually really hyped after seeing yesterday. Cata hype. I'm excited for it actually. Instincts. I am really excited for Cataclysm too. I'll see if I enjoy it or not. Definitely gonna try it for sure.
As a tank, they're in a great spot, having good damage reduction.
Yeah, I really hope that like the resto shamans have really been overlooked. I feel like it feels like the most underwhelming healing like spec that there is in SOD right now. Like enhancement is great. Elemental is great, but Resto Shaman is just so not good, I feel like.
Excellent single target threat and top tier AoE threat generation as well. Elemental has started to scale up given a few more resets of gear, and we're really seeing what they're capable of doing now in both PvE and PvP. And enhancement has gone from 0 to hero. This was the least played DPS class in vanilla by a huge margin. And now it's a top 3 DPS class.
Restoration. Dude, look at Warrior, man. What the fuck? That makes me that is crazy. Warrior is in the bottom middle pack. That is insane. Holy.
3 DPS class. Restoration is probably the least serviceable Shaman spec, but they're still good and they have great utility and Wind Fury Totem, so it's not as though people are going to pass you up just for playing Resto. As for future runes, two-handed enhancement is still not anywhere near as good as dual wield in PvE.
I would love to see more two-hand love for sure. That would be great. Sorry.
It's fine enough in PvP where you can purge debuffs off a squishy target, hit Storm Strike, get a few crits, get a Wind Fury proc, and just delete them. I kind of do still want to see two-handed as an option in PvE, so maybe they could get more dedicated rune support here. Elemental and Tank Shaman both seem kind of just fine in the state they are at the moment.
They're pretty good.
Maybe they could get some more utility in the future, such as Capacitor Totem. This was introduced in Legion and stuns nearby targets after a few seconds. Or maybe Spirit Walker's Grace from Cataclysm.
No. Give us something new. No. Listen, man. Don't take any of that stuff. Give us something new. Something we haven't seen, man. Okay, that's what I want to see. I mean, it's fine, I guess, taking some ideas for new expansions, but I would like to see some new stuff for sure.
This one allows you to cast spells while moving for a little bit. For Restoration, I thought they would have had Riptide by now at level 40.
Actually,
Maybe that's going to be waiting for you at level 50, though.
Really surprised they didn't give them Riptide.
In either event, if you're playing a Shaman right now, let me know what runes you want to see at level 50. For Warrior, Blizzard appear to be doubling down on the idea that protection, or just tank spec warriors, will be rocking a shield throughout Season of Discovery. Or at least they're going to try and make you do so. Sword and Board makes it so Devastate and Revenge have a 30% chance of resetting the cooldown on shield slam and reducing its rage cost by 100%.
There's gonna be a lot of goddamn shield slamming, man. Like, because you're going to be spamming Devastate, basically, so that you just Devastate, and you Shield Slap on cooldown.
And with how Devastate's been nerfed at the moment, maybe this is going to be a good thing. On the other hand, I don't remember Shield Slam being too good in vanilla. Then again, when did anyone actually play a deep prot warrior? All the warriors I remember were Fury prot, so maybe I
do remember Shield Slam going pretty hard in Wrath. like that's when it feels like pretty kind of sick with it, when you get armor penetration and stuff. I did all of the classic vanilla. I'm just gonna say it, man, okay? In normal vanilla, it's only the boomers that play prot, okay? If you're a boomer, you're a prot warrior, okay? But like all the newer people, they play Fury. It is what it is, okay? It's the boomer spec, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Get a shield, get a little sword or an axe, and go deep prot. It's just the boomer spec, dude.
Underrating it.
That's a low, bro. That's a low blow. Listen, 18B, we gotta be transparent with each other here, okay? Like that, it's just the truth, okay? It is a boomer spec, and that's how it goes.
Shield Mastery adds a further 10% flat damage to the warrior whilst they have a shield equipped, and reduces the duration of disarm effects by 50% as well, so just even more flat damage for protection here. Also, whilst we don't have anything along the lines of a gladiator stance which has been data mined, yet at least, this is kind of getting in that direction. And again, even though the one button devastate warrior build was nerfed, maybe we can start to piece together something else in a later phase.
Okay.
For Paladin, their spells are gonna do damage.
Oh yeah, this is nuts.
Flying Power reduces the cooldown on Exorcism and Holy Wrath by 50%, and also makes it so Holy Wrath can be cast on any target, but it will now stun undead and demons for 2 seconds. Holy Wrath's base damage is actually not half bad, and with this rune it will have a 30-second cooldown.
Wait, so is this for level 40 or is this max level? This is max level, right?
I know it still has a 2-second cast timing classic though. Still, this will add up nicely if you need a bit of burst AoE in your rotation. The cooldown reduction on Exorcism is nice and everything, but it feels like there's already so many ways to reset this ability. Did we really need a cooldown reduction on it as well?
No.
Maybe not. Wrath makes it so your Consecration ticks can crit. On top of that, Exorcism, Holy Shock, Holy Wrath, and Consecration will all gain spell crit equal to your melee crit chance.
I really feel like kind of like a hybrid red like Shockaden is gonna be the move, man. That might be the move for that. Maybe Savix is gonna be excited about that.
Consecration.
Every single time I see Savix's titles in his stream, it's always like a bunch of very over the top excited, Red Paladin titles. You know what I mean? But yeah, Savix want mobility. I think he has to come to terms with that. It will always be a wheelchair class in terms of mobility. You will never be able to move fast. It is what it is. Okay, that's just how it goes. But, perhaps he's used to it by now.
Might actually do some relevant damage more than tickling enemies now with this rune. Honestly, Paladins are looking like one of the more interesting classes in Phase 3 for me so far, given all the future runes that we've seen, but we'll see how they end up being. And those are just some of the runes we have seen so far for the next phase. Of course, there's going to be way more runes than this in Phase 3, and this is still very early. Any of them could undergo big changes, but if you wanted a sneak peek at the future, then this may just be what we end up getting. Let me know what you think about these runes, which ones you'd want to see in the game down below, and if you made it to the end, drop a sub on the channel, because I'll be breaking down and covering all major Season of Discovery updates right here. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Very soon.
Very soon.
There you go. Nice video from Willy. I'll link the video so you guys can check it out. Support Willy as well. He makes some really fantastic videos, guys, about basically MMOs in general, but mostly WoW stuff. Check it out, guys. Give it a like. Subscribe to Willy. He's a really great content creator, man. He makes some really nice informational videos for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited, dude. I'm a little bit sad we didn't see the shaman stuff, but maybe it's better that we it's left up to the unknown. And a lot of these things that we talked about and saw obviously is subject to change, and they might not even come out in the state that we see them. But it's still interesting to to go through it a little bit here and there, I must admit.